Welcome, Gunrunner.
Hello everybody, Kieran aka The Laird here, and I am here in front of the fluffy pillows of doom on my lovely blue sofa to bring you another review, and a pretty cool one at that. Now, those who follow my channel might remember some time ago me reviewing some top trump cards for home computers. I will link the video somewhere above here on the screen or something so you can familiarize yourself with that video that I did, and if you wanted to watch it again to find out what they're all about, or maybe you just never saw it in the first place, and that would be great if you could go back and watch that, because it gives you some background into what these are. Now, they were launched by the amazing Centre for Computing History in Cambridge, an absolutely amazing place full of computers, games consoles, games, magazines, pretty much everything to do with computing, but especially sort of focused on the scene and what happened here in the UK. It's a great big building in Cambridge, really easy to get to. Tons there. I've covered it lots of times before on my channel, but I do recommend anyone who hasn't been there does go and check it out and support them, because they are a charity, and they can't keep going without our work. So without donations, without and that's donations of cash and obviously consoles, games, they're always welcome to anything like that, and the many great events that they hold there. So I really do go recommend checking them out if you haven't already. But yes, after they did the trump cards for home computers, everyone said, please, 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 can we have ones for consoles? And they have very much obliged. They did say they would do it, and now they have, and now they're ready, and now you can order them directly from the Centre for Computing History, or you can go down to Cambridge and pick them up for yourself. So Jason, who runs the museum, kindly sent me some to review, and I was quite excited about it because I loved the first ones. They come in a lovely cassette case, as you can see, a proper old school like cassette case, which I absolutely love. The font is obviously very, very close to the Atari 2600 font, which I think they did also use on some early Atari 8-bit stuff. And then there's the classic Atari joystick and everything as well there as well. So 10 out of 10 straight away for the presentation, and this lovely cassette case and stuff. Most excellent. So let's have a look at the cards and what you get inside. So the inlay is printed on the inside as well, so it's obviously got like an explanation of what it's about. It tells you about the rules. I think everybody knows how to play top trumps. If you don't, then there's something wrong with you. But they're split into year, speed, RAM, units sold, cool factor, which is obviously rather subjective, so I'm not sure how they came up with how cool each system was. I assume it was probably somebody at the museum, perhaps Adrian, yes, probably you, that decided that. Library and launch price. So they're mostly factual apart from obviously cool factor. So I do remember that a few people moaned with the computer ones that a few gremlins crept through and there was a few little mistakes on them. There is, I will pre-warn you, there is a couple on these console ones. Nothing too serious. There's one that irked me slightly, but nothing too seriously. But we'll have a look at what you get in here. So you'll have a look at the cards. So yeah, start off there. There's the probably one of the biggest fails of all time, and the product that the mighty Apple would love to forget, the Bandai Pippin, Apple Bandai Pippin, with its meager 42,000 sales, absolute train wreck. Then obviously going right into really early consoles, Atari Pong. So this is probably not a good card to have because the speed is 0 hertz and 0 bytes of RAM, and Library 1. So you're not going to really win much with that card. Though I do argue that maybe the cool factor should have been higher because not many people have them. I think they're pretty cool. So there we got the ColecoVision, Atari VCS, or 2600 as many people would know it. Library is probably a bit arguable on that one because there's lots of different figures out there, depending on what you count. You know, whether you count some of the unofficial games or not, and or not, it's unofficial bootleg, I suppose. There's all sorts of weird bootleg games for the 2600s. That's whether you count those or whether you don't, and stuff like that. So that's always a bit of a funny one. The Intellivision, NES. One thing I will mention is, you'll see this in a moment, I've not got them together, but the NES is in here, but the Famicom is also in here, which I thought was quite strange to put both in there, because you would have made more sense maybe to combine them. So, especially when there are a few consoles that are missing, which I'll go into at the end. There's Master System, there's PC Engine, there's GX4000, Mega Drive, a good card there, CDI, SNES. Also, you notice as well, each one has the country at the top. And I want to show you one thing actually that I did spot, which I don't know if this is a mistake or what, but some consoles have the price in pounds and some have it in dollars, which is a bit strange and a bit inconsistent, because you're quoting a number in terms of top trumps, but you're not going to like convert dollars to pounds and stuff like that. But I do think they should have kept everything in one currency, so kept it all in dollars or kept it all in pounds, and then if it didn't come out in the UK, converted it to what it cost at the time or something like that. But I do think they should have kept them all in one currency. I suppose it doesn't matter too much because you're just reading out a number. But yeah, Mega CD32, 3DO, Jaguar. Again, this is a funny one. I'd argue the cool factor straight away. It's 4. But the library one's a funny one because it's whether you're counting CD games or not, cartridge games or not. And there's also whether you count the aftermarket releases with the Jaguar or don't you, things like that. It's also with the speed as well. Which of the processors are you counting the speed for? Don't know. So there we go. Sega Saturn, PlayStation, Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, Magnavox Odyssey, the very first games console with interchangeable games, GameMate, WonderSwan, Vectrex, Neo Geo, PCFX, Atari Lynx. This is the only one. I said there was one that bugged me, and it had to be the Lynx, didn't it? My favourite machine, because there are 2 mistakes on this. One is the units sold. I've been led to believe from many sources now, I've found it backed up in quite a few sources, that sales were at least 2.5 million, maybe even as much as 3 million, but somewhere in that region. But it's not far off. And the library, official library, is actually 72. So I'm not sure where they got 74 from. It's a strange one, that. Neo Geo Pocket Color, Sega SG-1000, Philips VideoPack G7000, aka the Magnavox Odyssey 2, Bally Astrocade, Fairchild Channel F, the first kind of proper console to use ROM cartridges, came out just before the Atari 2600, the Atari 5200, Bandai Playdia, Sega Nomad. So I mean, you probably already noticed, but it's got handhelds in it as well as normal consoles. Atari Supervision, the Nintendo Famicom. I'm pretty sure this is a mistake as well. Launch price £41. I'm pretty sure that's an error because it definitely wasn't £41. Grandstand 5000 colour. Interesting that they've put this in because it's just a Pong console. So it's a rather strange one to have seen in there, to be honest. Especially when there's other things that could have been in here. Nintendo Game Boy, Sega Game Gear, Game.com. So straight away, some of you might have spotted one really obvious console that's missing, and I am quite confused as to why it's not there. So 10 out of 10 or 10 points or whatever if you said Atari 7800, which isn't here. I don't know why. The 2600's here, the 5200's here, but the 7800 isn't, despite the fact the 7800 was a very popular console on both sides of the ocean. well-known console. I can't understand why there's no Atari 7800. It's absolutely bizarre as to why it's not there. I'm baffled, to be honest, as to how the 7800 got missed out of this selection. You also see it only goes up to a certain decade, so there's nothing particularly modern in here. You know, I think it sort of only goes up to sort of Jaguar, 3DO, Sega Saturn, place that era, the sort of early 32, 64-bit era. Oh no, the Dreamcast is in there. Oh yeah, that's right. Which is strange because it's the only one of that generation that's in here. There's no GameCube and there's no Xbox. But for me, the Dreamcast has always been my cut-off for retro. Different for different people, but it's still my cut-off for retro. I still struggle to think of anything that came out after the Dreamcast as being retro. But another console that's missing again is another Atari console. There's no XE game system in there either, which is another strange one. Not as strange as the 7800. That is still baffles me that it's not in there. So I did find that really strange. The other one is the Emerson Arcadia, which came out under a lot of different names in different parts of the world, but the most well-known name is the Emerson Arcadia. It was kind of 2600 generation. That's not in here, which is quite strange. I suppose not, so say lesser so. And another one I spotted was the RCA Studio 2, which isn't in here either. Another sort of one of the earlier consoles. There are a few of those early consoles that are missing. And there's a few odd Japanese ones as well, like the Casio Loopy and stuff, but I don't think we're particularly concerned about them. But still, I'd love to know what happened to the Atari 7800. Really strange. But all those things aside, I still really like these. I have actually already played with them with my son. He thought it was quite cool that we had a top trump cards with consoles on, but he was annoyed that there was no Xbox in there. I was trying to explain to him why, but he still wanted to see the Xbox in there. But there we go. But I still recommend buying these. They're really great. Lovely little thing, even without the 7800 and the very small mistakes. But yeah, go and buy them. Go and support the museum. Have some fun with them if you can find someone who'll play them with you. And go pick up the computer set as well, because, you know, if you're collecting, you've got to have both, haven't you? And thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all again for another video very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.